This is the Spiritual Tea Report, and I'm your host, Hathor Segment L, and we are with part 2 of Stefon Diggs, Cardi B, LordGisselle, Love Triangle Drama, He the Pappy. If you haven't seen part 1, go watch part 1 before you go watch part 2 so you know what's going on. We're going to get into this and dive deep into the relationship between LordGisselle and Stefon Diggs. If you haven't already heard, she is more than likely the mother of his second child before Cardi B was pregnant with his third child. That's very significant because I got into why it is very important spiritually. So we're going to go and see, like I said before, is LordGisselle or Cardi B the one, because that's very important for Stefon Diggs, is to find that one because he's already completing a great deal of his soul contract. Like I said, if you want to know more, you should watch part 1, and then there's some other things that you should watch because I did 3 parts on Cardi B and the twins. So go check that out before you get into this if you haven't done already. And we're going to go into this about LordGisselle and Stefon Diggs' relationship and dive deep spiritually into what's going on with these two. LordGisselle, the mother of Charlie and the alleged daughter of Stefon Diggs, her birthday is May 3rd, 1992, and she is currently 33 years old. Stefon Diggs' birthday is November 29th, 1993, and he's a Sag, and he's currently 31 years old. So if you currently watch some of my spiritual tea reports, you know how I break this down when I do a love reading, or what I call love and compatibility reading, is that I do look at the astrology. I also look at the numbers, and sometimes I also go into face reading. This time we're going to be looking at these numbers, and we break it down with the moon is the emotions, is the part where they are personal in the home type of life. I start to describe that with the numerology that I do. And then we come together about the sun, how they think together, their thoughts. That's masculine energy. Moon energy is feminine. Sun energy is masculine. The way they think, that's very, very highly important in a relationship. And then I get into the year. So we're going to get into 2025. And then we're also going to get into 2024. And then I want to get into 2026 because it's significant to Cardi B as well, because LordGisselle and Cardi B have some things in common where, Stefon Diggs, he has a type. He has a type. So we're going to get into this, and we're going to be looking at the moon energy first. And there's a higher and lower energy when two people come together. The higher energy is when they're in their best positivity and they're trying to work the relationship out. The lower energy is the negative energy, is the energy that they have to learn to get over, ground, really make some realistic decisions towards their weaknesses or the negatives that they deal with. So in the higher energy of LordGisselle and Stefon Diggs together, they are very spiritual. They were in a relationship that felt like a transition. And sometimes in relationships with this transition, they're very much highly spiritual. But the reason why they are spiritual is because they help a person get through some things. So this relationship is and based in a higher energy of 7. So with this energy, Stefon Diggs felt like he already knew that she wasn't somebody he was going to have always around in his life. Just naturally, an energy of them together, it propels him in a way where he can reflect with her, and he can do those things, but he's not a person who was meant to stay around her as much. And it may be because of all the energy that she wants from this relationship. So, Charlie's mother, LordGisselle, was very much in the energy play which almost, he liked it to a certain extent, but he just knew that there was going to be a transition period. Like, people are there for a season, for a reason, or a lesson. And it's looking like he already was feeling in the nurturing and emotional part that he would be more than likely not dealing with her as much. The negative energy is psychological. It is that there is some psychological plays made. And the reason why that was happening is because Tavon Diggs wasn't always speaking to her nicely. And this was really against her identity, which is crazy because, I'm going to show this, somebody was gassing her head up during that time that she conceived. When she conceived Charlie with possibly Stefon Diggs, um, it really gassed her head up. It really made her feel like she was one of one. But these conversations really went against um, LordGisselle's energy, how she thinks of herself, her self worth. There was not nice conversations or communication that was coming from Mr. Diggs when he was dealing with her. And that could really go against somebody because she feeds off of that energy with her being this Taurus. She's very much knows how to communicate. She knows how to talk. And now we're going to get into the sun energy of how they think with one another. Now, how they think of with one another is they do need good communication. If they have this great communication, because that's a higher energy is 5, then it helps Tavon Diggs with his mind. There, she was at a time for him. She was there for spiritual purposes, for a transitioning from for him. And we think about this: if they were talking, more than likely, Stefon Diggs was 30 something, and LordGisselle right now is 33, so she more than likely was 32, where she was helping him more than likely get over a hump. Because when you are coming out of your Saturn's return at 30, there's a lot of things where you are really trying to start to settle down. And that's what Stefon Diggs is doing currently. He may not even know it, but as a portal child, he's looking for that woman who he wants to settle down with. He's trying to find that woman, and unfortunately he's just not protecting himself, and he's creating these children. But the first 3 are always by design. They are by him being in alignment regardless of how he's doing it with the different baby mothers. He has to have those 3. Any other children added on after this are just extra children. And I'm not saying they're throwaways, but they're more of a free will type of thing, I would say. So going back to the way Giselle and Stefon Diggs think, is that communication is very important. They can create together, have great conversations with one another. This is in their higher energy. Remember, I said the higher energy is the positive energy. And their lower energy is 8, and this is the information they share. This is the information that they share. It can be where LordGiselle's information switches up. It switches up with her energy and her emotions, where she could probably be talking reckless, which raises the energy in Stefon Diggs, which I could see some arguments happening. So I could see why this relationship probably wasn't all the way working, because with the higher energy, like I said, Stefon Diggs, she was spiritual. There was something where he was transitioning, and through that, it was a good and bad reversal for LordGisselle with the information. Like she really had good information to give, but when she gets into her emotions, her speech changes, which makes him love and hate the way she talks. He loves and hates the way she talks because on one hand she can make him feel very good inside, mentally, and then she can switch up and it just be totally different, because Taurus are stubborn. This Taurus is earth and Sag is fire, so a Taurus woman, she's going to want, some control. And this was really like, no, Stefon Diggs is not going for that. So let's get into 2025. 2025 is still a transitional period for these two, where you see that Stefon Diggs, this is a lesson for him. It's not something that was meant to last forever. And then you see them in the courts later on, and her coming for him through the courts, because she knew already that she was pregnant with his child. And obviously he was the only one she was dealing with for her to be so sure, because Charlie was still inside of LordGisselle's body in her womb when she was suing Stefon Diggs about the paternity. And I know for this, when I'm going through the courts, paternity tests do not take that long. So that may even been when CardiB, they were saying that, hey, they're no longer together because you didn't see any pictures of Stefon Diggs on her posts anymore. He was just removed. So more than likely, Cardi already knew about LordGisselle and the pregnancy, before she even got pregnant. So that's very interesting. What I do see about these two is just it's transitioning period, where there was, they were together, last year, and then they're not together anymore. And this is a lesson learned. And this is also something where Giselle is learning about who she wants to be in this relationship. And it's looking like, I want to be your adversary. I want to be against you. Because now Cardi is saying that she's pregnant, and he's not even really trying to acknowledge the paternity of Charlie. Which is funny, because Charlie's going to come in as the special child that he needs to be dealing with. And we're going to get into that shortly. But 2025, it is looking like there's a lot of adversity going on, where LordGisselle is putting herself in a position to go against him. And it's really about how she feels about herself. And she felt like she was one of one. She felt like, she was the only one. And now she's being faced with that Cardi B now is pregnant with Stefon Diggs' child. So I wanted to get into this article in People, and it was talking about Cardi B and basically Stefon Diggs and the announcement of the baby, but it also went into the article went into talking about LordGisselle and this court case. So I'm going to read this real quick. According to the court documents obtained by People, the New England Patriots wide receiver, 31, is being accused by model Aileen Lopera, I think that's how you say it, who goes by LordGisselle on Instagram, of fathering a baby girl who was born this past April. Giselle first filed documents against Diggs to determine a paternal relationship of their unborn baby in December of 2024. Keep that in mind. December 2024, when she was pregnant. Petitioner is currently pregnant with Diggs' unborn child. The filing read, at the time, Lopera requested legal and physical custody of their baby, but gave Diggs visitation rights. So it goes on to say, that he questioned the paternity, and he wanted a test taken to see if Charlie actually is his child. And I wanted to go over this. I looked up when I was trying to figure out what was going on with all of this. I looked up on Google. It gave me the AI overview of when Cardi B and Stefon Diggs started sparking their dating rumors, which was back in October 2024. I think I already mentioned that before, but they confirmed the relationship on May 12th, 2025, with a courtside appearance at the New York Knicks game. They further made their romance public on Instagram in June of 2025, though breakup rumors surfaced around July 2025. And I think that's when she found out, maybe, I don't know, before being put to rest by August. So we have the dating rumors, and we have it where they are. That was October the 2024. October 2024. He was getting sued, or yeah, getting sued by LordGisselle in December of 2024. She had the baby April 2025, which would have dated back that she conceived no later than the first week of July or late the last week or so of June. So summertime of 2024, he was dealing with LordGisselle. You can go look on her Instagram. If you follow her timeline and go, her page is wide open. So she must want to be seen. She works for Fashion Nova. I don't see her shutting down what's going on. She has nothing to hide. And you can go look at some of her captions. She's first saying 101, and then, all of a sudden she pops up pregnant. And let's just check this out. That her, if you go look at her and you look at Cardi B, Stefon Diggs has a type too. Not only does Cardi B have a type, he has a type, and I think he likes voluptuous Hispanic women. I mean, nothing wrong with that, but I was talking to my fiance. It was so funny. He was like, and now he's created one. So Charlie is going to be a lesson for him as well. I see it. I see it very soon. Charlie is going to be a lesson. So going back to the dates, is that it was very much possible that he talked to LordGisselle in the summertime, and then he ended up talking to and dealing with Cardi later in the fall. And I already said that LordGisselle didn't seem like she was going to keep his interest or his time, and this naturally is in the numbers.